Luma the Little Sea Angel. Part 1. Deep beneath the frozen Arctic Ocean, where sunlight barely touched the water, lived a tiny sea creature named Luma. She was a sea angel, a translucent winged being who glided through the cold, dark waters like a glowing snowflake. Every morning she would rise and twirl among shimmering bubbles, while bioluminescent plankton lit up her path. She didn't speak, but her graceful movements told stories of joy and wonder. Other small sea creatures watched her in awe. Luma was curious more than anyone else in her quiet, icy home. She had heard tales from the elder sea angels about the warm oceans far away, where colors danced and creatures with names like turtle, dolphin, and octopus lived among vibrant coral towers. While most sea angels stayed in the cold forever, Luma dreamed of seeing those places. One morning, while chasing a glowing bubble farther than ever before, Luma discovered a swirling current darker and deeper than anything she'd seen. It wasn't dangerous, just mysterious. The water seemed to whisper as it spun slowly. Myra, an older sea angel, saw her floating nearby and warned currents like that can carry you to places you're not ready for. But Luma couldn't ignore the pull of her curiosity. That night, as the sea grew quiet and dim, Luma made her choice. She packed a tiny pouch with 3 glowing pearls for light, a drift leaf for notes, and a jelly shell for safety. Without telling anyone, she gently slipped into the swirling current. At first, the current spun her gently like a feather in the wind. She laughed as she passed sleepy sea stars and schools of blinking fish. But soon the water changed. It warmed and brightened. The deep blue shifted into turquoise. Luma gasped as she saw orange coral, golden sand, and fish in every color she could imagine. She had reached the edge of the warm sea. Everything here moved fast. The creatures talked loudly and darted around like flashes of light. A shiny parrotfish zipped by asking, "What kind of jelly are you?" and a group of clownfish giggled, calling her the see-through feather. Luma didn't mind. She smiled and twirled through the water, feeling amazed. But not everyone was happy to see her. Hidden in the shadow of a coral cave watched a mantis shrimp named Brax. His powerful claws and sharp eyes made him one of the reef's fiercest residents. He narrowed his eyes and muttered, "She doesn't belong here. Wings, hat, light, no armor. She only bring trouble." As the sun sank below the waves, Luma floated near a glowing sea anemone and wrote her first note on the drift leaf. "Day 1, I found the warm sea. It is loud, bright, and full of surprises. I hope I'll make a friend." In the shadows, Brax clicked his claws quietly. Trouble always starts with someone new. Luma the Little Sea Angel. The next morning, Luma woke to a world full of light and color. The warm sea shimmered with motion, coral towers swayed, and tiny fish darted like sparks. She stretched her wings and spun in the water, feeling lighter than ever. She explored gently, gliding between soft corals and under rocky arches. Every corner held something new: glowing jellyfish drifting in silence, curious crabs peeking out from their holes, and sea slugs covered in blue and orange patterns. Luma whispered in her heart, "This place is magic." Suddenly a fast blur zoomed past her. It was the shiny parrotfish again. "Hey, see-through wings, you're still here. You didn't get eaten yet." Luma smiled and twirled. She wasn't sure if he was being rude or funny. Before she could answer, another voice echoed from below, deep and slow, "You do not belong here." It was Brax the mantis shrimp emerging from the shadow of a rock. His eyes glowed with suspicion, and his claws twitched like loaded springs. Luma floated, still trying to look calm. "I am just visiting," she said softly. "I don't want to cause trouble." Brax circled her slowly, his eyes never blinked. "Trouble finds those who shine brightly," he muttered, and vanished into the reef. The day continued with strange encounters. A group of reef eels stared at her from their caves. A turtle swam by and simply nodded. Some sea creatures were kind, some were confused, and others kept their distance. By evening, Luma found a quiet cave lined with soft pink moss. She tucked herself in and pulled out her drift leaf. "Day to the reef is beautiful, but not everyone understands me. I miss the silent snow of home." As she finished writing, she heard a gentle hum from outside. She peeked out and saw a small glowing creature hovering nearby. It had wings like hers, but they fluttered differently, faster, more chaotic. "Hello," Luma said. "Are you a sea angel too?" The creature looked at her curiously. "I am a comb jelly, not an angel, but you look interesting." "My name is Tycho," Luma smiled wide. "I'm Luma. It's nice to meet you." Tycho twirled in a fast spiral. "I've seen you fly through the coral. No one here moves like you want to see something cool." Before Luma could answer, Tycho zipped away, leaving a trail of glowing sparkles. Luma followed as fast as she could, flapping her tiny wings. They swam deep into a hidden canyon filled with glowing sea fans and rainbow sponges. It was silent, peaceful, magical. Tycho whispered, "This is my secret place. I come here when I want to feel small but safe." Luma felt something warm inside. For the first time, she didn't feel like a stranger. She looked at Tycho and said, "Thank you for showing me this." Tycho nodded. "Let's meet here tomorrow again. Bring your sparkle." That night, Luma returned to her mossy cave and wrote on her drift leaf. Day to ended with a friend. "I think this place might become home." But in the shadows of the reef, Brax watched again. His claws tapped slowly, and his eyes followed the soft light trail left behind by Luma. Luma, the little sea angel. The next morning, Luma woke with a flutter of excitement. Today she would meet Tycho again. The warm sea was brighter than ever as sunlight filtered through the waves. She swam quickly past sleepy anemones and darting fish, heading straight for the hidden canyon. When she arrived, Tycho was already there, spinning in circles. "You came back," he said, glowing happily. "I brought something." From behind a rock, he pulled out a tiny shell filled with glowing sand. "It's called shimmerdust," he said. "Toss it into the water and watch." Luma did as he said. The sand floated up, forming tiny glowing shapes in the water. "Star, a swirl, a tiny fish." Tycho laughed. "It reacts to your movement. You can draw in the sea." Luma flapped her wings, creating a glowing spiral around them both. She laughed softly and said, "This is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen." For hours they played in the canyon, painting the water with shimmerdust, telling stories through light and movement. But while they played, Brax watched from above, hidden in the reef. His claws tapped the coral anxiously. "Something isn't right," he muttered. "That shimmerdust is rare and powerful." Later that day, Luma and Tycho floated near the reef's edge. Tycho said, "You're lucky. You can move like wind. I've never seen anything like you." Luma smiled. "You're the first one who didn't ask me, but I am. You just accepted me." Tycho tilted slightly. "You are what you are. You shine. That's enough." But their moment of peace was broken. A sudden dark shadow moved across the reef. Fish scattered, corals quivered. From the deep came a sound like rolling thunder. A massive predator entered the reef, a long shadow with glowing eyes and razor fins. It was a deep-sea hunter lost in warm waters, confused and angry. Brax shouted from his cave, "Everyone hide, stay still." Tycho froze. Luma hovered unsure. The creature sniffed the water, following the trail of Shimmerdus. It had never smelled such magic before. Brax darted forward, slamming his claws against a rock, sending shockwaves that distracted the creature. It turned, roaring toward him. She flew high into the open water, wings glowing bright. She swirled through the current, leaving a trail of light, drawing the predator's attention. She flew fast, leading it away from the reef out into the open sea, her tiny body weaving between rocks and bubbles. The predator chased, but couldn't match her turns. Finally, as she reached a cold current, she dove deep and disappeared into the shadows. The predator, confused and tired, turned and vanished into the dark. Luma returned, slowly, weak but safe. The reef was silent. Then came cheers from the fish. A turtle nodded slowly. Brax stepped forward, eyes wide. "You brought danger, but you saved us. You are not like the others. You are braver." Tycho zipped to her side. "She's not just brave, she's art in motion." That night in her cave, she rode on her drift leaf. Day 3, I flew with purpose. I faced fear and found family. Maybe I'm not just a visitor anymore. Maybe this is home.